The Fed has tapped the brakes on interest rate hikes. What does this mean for the HECM's expected rate? Welcome back to the Industry Leader Update. After 10 consecutive interest rate hikes of the Fed funds rate, the Federal Reserve hit the pause button just last Wednesday. The 12 members of the Federal Open Market Committee, or FOMC, which directs the Federal Reserve's monetary policy, voted unanimously to leave the Fed funds rate at 5 to 5.25%. It's essentially a wait-and-see approach. Holding the target range steady at this meeting allows the committee to assess additional information and its implications for monetary policy, said the Federal Open Market Committee in its June statement following the meeting. Now, the next FOMC meeting, by the way, is scheduled to be held on July 25th and 26th. So what is the relationship between the Fed's fund rate and the 10-year constant maturity Treasury rate, which we know is used to determine the federally insured reverse mortgage, or the HECM's expected rate, determines how much proceeds. Now, to put it simply, it's complicated. While the Fed's fund rate is expected to continue to rise later in 2023 and perhaps in 2024, the question arises, what impacts will this have on long-term interest rates, such as Treasury bond yields and also mortgage rates? First, let's look at this chart from the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. It appears that the Fed funds rate and the one-year Treasury actually track very closely. However, the 10-year Treasury, while it shows some correlation between the Fed funds rate and it follows its own trajectory in the end. So it's important to remember that correlation is not causation. How does the 10-year constant maturity Treasury rate actually compare with the longer-term interest rates we have in the market today? Much more closely. Now, this from the Fed overlays the average 30-year fixed-rate mortgage and also the 10-year constant maturity Treasury rate, or CMT, and there are very few disparities. Now, while the spread of the two rates is notable, so also is how the two rates track very closely. It should be noted that the traditional mortgage rates could diverge away in the 10-year CMT if banks begin pricing loans for increasing risks seen in an uncertain economy. Now, between May 15th and June 13th, the benchmark rate for the HECM, the 10-year CMT, rose 34 basis points to 3.84%. That's actually a notable improvement from March, where it was 4%. Now, what can we expect the 10-year CMT rate to be in the future? Bankrate surveyed market experts, and they see slightly increasing rates in the next 12 months as the Fed still has much work to do in pushing inflation down to its target of 2% from its present 4% annual CPI. The first quarter Market Maven survey found that market analysts expect the 10-year Treasury yield to climb to 3.7% a year from now, and that's up from the 3.38% at the end of the survey period on March 24th. A majority of survey respondents say they expect rates will be higher a year from today. Now, just how high actually depends on how successful the Fed can be in reducing inflation, while at the same time not overly stressing the banking sector in its Highwire Act. The Fed pause on interest rate hikes may slow the erosion of median home prices as well. However, the Fed is not the only one who's hit the pause button. So have home sellers. The historic rate and frequency of interest rate hikes has decimated homebuyer demand, and consequently, many home sellers have found out the hard way that they cannot sell their home at 2021 prices with 2023 interest rates, and they decided to pull their listing from the market. That has further constrained home inventory and also slowed the decline in overall home values. However, some markets across the nation are seeing significant drops in year-over-year home listing prices. In the final analysis, what we do know is this: despite volatile interest rate fluctuations and an unstable housing market, there are millions of older homeowners who likely need a hedge against inflation, and also the means of tapping into their largest asset to weather an uncertain economy. Now, what are your thoughts? You can leave those in the comment section below. And also, if you'd be so kind as to share this week's video, you can do that on your LinkedIn and Facebook profiles. Don't forget, we have a YouTube channel as well. You can smash that subscribe button. That way you never miss an upcoming episode. And hit the like button or the dislike button. If you liked it or didn't like it, let us know. Give us some feedback. And don't forget, each and every week you can catch up on your latest reverse mortgage news with the nation's only weekly podcast for reverse mortgage professionals. Apple users can listen and subscribe on iTunes. Thanks again for joining us, and be sure to return next week for more reverse mortgage news, commentary, and analysis here at HACM World.